Candidate meet and greets and forums for folks who are going to be on the October 12th ballot. I'm Nancy Bergeron with the Ruston Leader and the moderator for these events. Tonight's event features Lincoln Parish Police Juror candidates from Districts 5, 7, and 8. And the subsequent forums will feature Districts 10 and 12. That's on this coming Monday. And then the Lincoln Parish Assessor and Clerk of Court a week from Thursday. We at the Leader remain excited about doing this because we do indeed believe that interaction with the candidates is one of the best ways for you, the voting public, to make your choices as Election Day nears. We also thank our sponsor, Origin Bank, and our other partners, the Lincoln Parish Library, and then Uptown Downtown for the refreshments that you found out in the foyer. A few housekeeping announcements before we get started. First, as you probably already know, but anyway, the restrooms are out here in the foyer. And should we have to evacuate the building for any reason, the emergency exits are over here and the main exit is out there. Never can tell. Never know. Okay, and so here is the format for tonight's forum. The questions that will be asked came from you, the audience. They will be asked in random order to random folks up here on the stage. No particular, we will go by district, but no particular order within the districts. Candidates, you will have 1 minute and 30 seconds to answer the question. The timer down here that Cody has. All of you will answer the same question, and then we'll move to the next one. And remember, as we've told the folks before you, this is not a debate. We'll rotate so that everybody has a chance to be first and last and middle and in all orders that we could think of. Our timekeeper down here will hold up a green paddle card. There you go, at the 45-second mark, and a red one. Red one. There we go. At the 1 minute and 30-second mark. If you are in mid-sentence when time is called, you will be allowed to finish that sentence only. And just with a couple of words. No long run-on sentences or extended paragraphs. Audience, if you would refrain from applause or remarks of any kind during the event, we'd appreciate it because that does take away from these gentlemen's time to speak. And then at the end, we will applaud them all and thank them all for their willingness to offer themselves to public service for the folks here in Lincoln Parish. With us tonight are starting over here. Our Brandon Milner, he is for District 5 candidate. Logan Hunt is District 5. David Hammonds, who is also District 5, could not be with us tonight. Tim Babcock, District 7. Matt Pullin, District 7. Rick Hohlt, District 8. And Skip Russell, District 8. All right, gentlemen, let's get started. Question number 1, and we will begin with our District 5 candidates. And Logan, you are first up. And here it is. Oil and gas is one of the biggest taxpayers in the parish. What have you done, or have you reached out to the industry to see what the future plans of the industry has for this area?
That's a great question, Nancy. I'm actually employed in the oil and gas industry. I think it uniquely qualifies me to be a police juror in the sense that out of the top 15 taxpayers in Lincoln Parish, 10 of them are indeed oil and gas related, whether it be upstream and exploration and production companies or midstream being pipeline companies and such. So every day I manage client acreage. We manage mineral assets at Argent Mineral Management for large landowners. And so doing that, I'm consistently negotiating oil and gas leases, pipeline right-of-ways, consistently watching rig counts in the area here in Lincoln Parish. We manage properties over 27 states, but as you can imagine, being located here in Ruston, we have significant assets under our management here in Lincoln Parish. So through those activities, I'm in direct contact with some of the decision makers with some of these companies and kind of have my ear to the ground here. It significantly impacts our tax revenue as the amount of activity goes up and down, so does our tax revenue, and that's clearly seen by our severance tax shortfall. There's different. It's a complicated issue, but we can say that we do need people with experience in the industry on the jury to help us keep an eye on that tax revenue. Thank you.
Brandon? Yeah, you kind of have to hold them pretty close.
All right, I'm Brandon Milner. Let me hear that question.
Okay, the question again is, oil and gas is one of the biggest taxpayers in the parish. Excuse me. What have you done, or have you reached out to the industry to see what future plans the industry has for this area?
Well, I haven't reached out, but I do have some friends that work for a couple of different drilling companies, and they live local and they want the oil and gas industry to come back local, but they said due to the cost that it costs to drill here, they can drill in Texas, West Texas for cheaper, and they won't be back here until the price goes up. And again, that's just the people I talk to. I haven't reached out to the companies or anything like that. But I would like to see them come back here. And if we can help them in any way, benefit the landowners, the taxes, and most important, I think, would help our roads if they repaired the ones they messed up. Because I've seen several spots where they haul this salt water in and out of. They have really roads on those streets, and that's a lot of people's biggest complaint. Is they come in, they leave, and then they're left with a road full of potholes. I guess that's it.
Okay, and our District 7 candidates, Tim, you're first.
See? The short answer is no.
Okay, Matt?
This on? Yes, to answer that, I have talked to a couple of local people that are involved daily in the oil and gas industry, talked about their drilling schedule, what they've got planned over the next few years. Like anything else in industry, the market drives that, where they're going to drill and not drill, as far as price of gas. So I'm trying to stay on top of that so they can have some kind of forecast of revenue over the next 4 years.
Okay, and our District, excuse me, our District 8 candidate, Skip?
All right, thank you. Minute and a half. Three things. I want to introduce my wife, Carolyn, who came with me tonight. 45 years she's put up with me. I want to thank the Ruston Leader for bringing us together and bringing you down here, encouraging you to come and support. Then I want to tell you that my friend Rick Hohlt is a candidate for this same office. I don't look at Rick as an opponent. He's an individual who has shown leadership and has worked hard for the Sparta in this area. And I want to give him public recognition for having done that. We both are striving to serve you as District 8 representative. So the decision is going to be yours. Oil and gas industry, yes, I am very actively involved on several levels because I do business with them, both I've sold water to oil and gas industry, and I get a letter from them every month, and I then take that little check to the bank. So I deal with them on a regular basis. Thank you.
And Rick, also District 8.
My name is Rick Hohlt. Just to give you a little information about myself before I answer the question, I served as publisher and editor of the Ruston Leader for 28 years. And I've dedicated a lot of my time to community service. And I've been attending police jury meetings now for 28 years regularly. And I think it's important You have to attend both committee meetings and police jury meetings to fully understand what's going on. But as far as the oil and gas, I am not a juror, so I know I have not talked to oil and gas. But I know the importance of oil and gas to this community. And the cooperation, something the jury has done in the past, they have sold water from the parish park to oil and gas companies. And that sounds like something y'all might not want to be in favor of, but you have to understand that the water that's displaced comes back. And it has afforded the parish park to do quite a few things. It's a significant amount of money. And it's a win-win. That's the kind of cooperation we need to strive for. Oil and gas, the trucks are bad on the road sometimes, and we need to have an open channel of communication and help support the industry also. And finally, I appreciate the comment, Skip. And my only question is, you gonna vote for me?
Good chance.
Thank you.
All right. Question 2 kind of plays off of something that I think it was Logan that mentioned a while ago. But here it is, gentlemen. And we will start this time with our District 7 candidates. And Matt, you will be the first to answer. And here's the question. The police jury is losing about $1 million in general severance tax revenue for this year and probably for next year. What will you do to address the deficit?
That's probably a question that everybody's having right now, is because that is a huge 25% approximately impact to the general fund budget, which you could, there is about 18 different funds that budget supplies. And it's tough decisions are gonna have to be made. You know, I would like to say that we could just go on running as we can, but there's gotta be cuts in places. There's nothing we can do. We can move some stuff around and try to generate more revenue and kind of basically get through the storm of having this shortfall in our budget. And until then, there's going to have to be tough decisions made.
All right, and Tim?
The police jury's main objective is the custodian of the people's property. And a lot of ancillary programs and are developed, and funding is last week. A lot of agencies was asking for funds. It has to be cut, and that's going to be hard to do.
All right, our District 8 candidates are next, and Rick, you're first up.
This is the toughest question of the night. I think the severance tax loss represents 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 million dollars. And this is in the budget of the police jury, which I believe is a little over $3 million. And what y'all saw happen at the police jury meeting at the last time, they were trying to figure out how much money they're going to donate to these different organizations. That does not represent near enough for us to cut to get to the level of $1 million. You got to talk faster. What they basically did is they moved approximately $500,000 from the courthouse capital fund to help offset that for this year. So we have to cut $500,000 more dollars. And a quick example of how impossible this is, you have to understand that the district attorney's office, the coroner, the jury really has no choice but to accept whatever budget they put forth. And the way it's worded is, if we have to by law pay them that budget, if it's reasonable. And that's kind of the gray area, because nobody knows what might be reasonable. That represents $323,000 of the budget. We can't cut that. So it's going to be very difficult to find the cuts of significance to make up the difference. Thank you.
And Mr. Russell.
All right. On 2 two occasions I have served as president during very difficult times. Currently, I am treasurer of the Finance Committee. We've been working on this for several months already, seeing that it was coming down the road and we were going to have to face this very serious issue, and it is a serious issue. However, we have a plan of action that we have put in place, and we, working together with all 12 jurors, we think we're going to be able to live through this year's situation. However, we've got to move forward and work on legislative changes before next year's budget is effective. Together, we're going to make it happen. We're going to do it without raising taxes.
All right, and we'll move now to our District 5 candidates. Mr. Milner, you're up first.
All right. Like Skip just said, not raising taxes. Most of us are already taxed enough and they hate to get the property tax bill. But inevitably we may have to make cuts to some of the programs that are not mandated by law. And hopefully the legislature can come together and get our severance tax back, or at least part of it. And if that's done, then, you know, we may be able to bounce back from this in a year or two, but there's no guarantee. If we, you know, spend the people's money wisely, then we should be able to overcome this. We may have to cut some things that are good but are not really mandatory. I plan, if elected, to stay in contact with my district and spend their money the way they want it spent.
And Mr. Hunt.
First, I'd like to say that I'm strongly against allocating severance tax revenue to the general fund. I know it's been done for years now, probably 6 to 7 years. I believe that the Lincoln Parish Police Jury, or Lincoln Parish in general, has received up the $1 million cap from the state in the severance allocation. So how that works is every 1,000 cubic feet of gas that gets extracted from the ground, and these severance taxes are allocated to anything that's severed from the ground. So we pay severance tax when we cut timber, we pay severance tax when we produce natural gas, coal, and other things. And so the parish then gets 20% of what the state assesses, and then caps that at $1 million. So we have been producing a lot of natural gas, obviously, in Lincoln Parish over the past few years, and have been hitting that $1 million cap. So that's first what I would like to say. I think, as Skip said, the general fund ledger balance is sufficient enough to support the deficit if you transfer the courthouse capital to the general fund for this existing $500,000. But it's going to be tough. We need to know what's happening. Personally, I don't think legislatively we're going to have a fix there. I think there's some misunderstanding as far as the allocation goes.
All right. Question 3, we'll begin with our District 8 candidates. And Mr. Russell, you will have the first opportunity to answer this question. Again, somewhat similar to what we said. What is your plan for repairing roads damaged by the oil and gas industry?
If all of you travel our 450 miles of highways, as you drive down the road, very often you will find roads that are in terrible, terrible shape. Let me suggest to you, those are state highways. Our parish highway department does an outstanding job with our 450 miles of highways. We have some problems. We have a system by which we evaluate all of those roads every year. We have a 3-year plan of action where we will repair those roads that are in the most serious condition. we do need to work on shoulders, and we do need to develop a better system of mowing the sides of the roads. That's been a problem in recent times, but we're working on that. And if you note the difference when you get out and drive around, the difference between a parish road and a state road, our parish roads are so much better condition than the state highways. And I applaud our 98 folks who work on those.
And Mr. Hohlt.
I agree with Skip. We have some of the best roads, at least in North Louisiana, there's no question. The jury has done a great effort to keep that going strong. At the last jury meeting, I remember some comments talking about the specific question and about oil and gas trucks tearing up the roads. And I can't remember who brought it up or who made the comment, but some of these companies have given cash, some have given materials to help repair the road. That kind of plan needs to be expanded because they know what they're doing. They know that the weights on these trucks are damaging these roads, and they want to be good community members. So I think the dialogue needs to continue. Why did they give that money and that asphalt or whatever material? Because they were asked. And that's important. A line of communication is always going to get us to where we need to go. We need to keep that open, and we need to build on that. Thank you.
And moving now to our District 5 candidates, Mr. Milner.
All right. I think overall, our parish roads are in really good shape. But there are some locations, like he just mentioned, that are really messed up from salt water and things like that, or just excessive wear in and out of well sites. We may need to explore some possibilities like some of our neighbors to the west did for getting funds from the oil and gas industry on repairing those sections of roads that they messed up. I mean, granted, we want their business in the parish, and we don't want them to leave us with a huge bill of fixing the road, and they could assist with that. And I do think that we can focus a little better on our mowing and some other things. But if elected, I plan to commit myself fully 24/7 and do what's best for my district and the parish. I want it to go back to, I serve what y'all want, not my wants or special interests.
And Mr. Hunt, also from District 5.
I mentioned earlier about the oil and gas industry paying significant amount of property taxes. That includes the 4.41 mils that go towards road maintenance and the 4.41 mils that goes towards road construction. Collectively, they pay about $900,000 a year annually into our road budgets. Each of those road budgets together account for about $4 million. So that's about 25% of our road budgets that's coming from the oil and gas industry. So for us to say that they're not paying for what they're damaging, I think would be a little bit incorrect. As far as additional revenue from those companies, you know, each one of these wells, these horizontal wells, cost about $10 million to drill. So if you think about that, right now they have to get permits to haul their rigs in. They have to, just as log trucks do and others, but they don't pay for their permits. If we could provide them with a consistent cost and a known cost that wasn't exorbitant, I think that they would agree to pay that permit fee if they knew that we weren't going to have guys out there harassing them on weight and things of that nature. If they knew they had a permit fee that could be assessed on moving the rig, I think they would go along with it and would pay, and that'd be an additional source of revenue from those companies to help go towards repair the roads.
And moving to our District 7 candidates, Mr. Babcock.
The police jury's main objective is to maintain the parish roads. That's number one. And it's been neglected about 20 years. The backfill on the roads has trees going on. Some of them, if you drive down the parish roads, you see that the roads are closing in because of the neglect of the ditches, bridges, and backfill. And I think that Skip Road had the right idea. We need to go back to maintaining and putting a priority on maintaining the roads. And it's the number one thing of the police jury's responsibility.
And Mr. Pullin.
I think the question kind of pointed out that oil and gas is responsible for a lot of our bad parish roads, which I firmly believe that that's not true, because I think they do pay their fair share for the budget that we have to maintain and fix those roads. Now, if there is some kind of shortfall on that, then I think there's nothing wrong, and I work in the oil and gas industry as well, that I have never met anybody that is not willing to, like I say, most of these guys are in our community. They want to see the roads just as bad as we do, maintained and fixed. I don't think that they're definitely not opposed to sitting down with the jury and sharing in some of that as well. So.
All right, next question, and we will begin this time with our District 5 candidates, and Mr. Hunt, you will be first up. It's a two-parter. Feel free to take notes, guys, if you'd like to. Part 1. Parish dump sites are a major concern for our rural residents in Lincoln Parish. What are your plans to fix this problem? Part 2. Do you support home trash pickup?
That's a great question. What am I going to do to fix parish dump sites? As you drive around the parish, it doesn't take long, for me at least, to come across a full dumpster or 3 full dumpsters with 3 dumpsters worth of trash right out in front of it. It's an issue. It's an issue, but I think it's more of an. I think we can fix it, and here's how I'd like to do it. I'd like to consolidate. The jury started to consolidate into these mega sites, right? But still, it's just not enough. We don't have enough of them. I'd like to look into the idea of having some compactor sites. I don't know about your families, but if you're like my family, we do a lot of online shopping, and Amazon and UPS comes just about every other day to our house, and we've got boxes for days. So if you had these compactor sites, you could compact the trash on the site, one large compactor. You could haul directly from that compactor site directly to our end locations, the landfill, whether it be in Monroe or up in Farmerville in Union Parish. On that same site, you could have it fenced, lit, cameras, everything. You could have a recycling, open top, 40-yard recycling bin right there on the same location. So I would like to do away with the dumpsters around the parish, consolidate it into compaction sites.
All right, and Mr. Milner, again, it's a two-parter. What would you do about to fix the dumpster concern? And do you support home trash pickup in the rural areas of the parish?
Okay. I know this is a big issue in District 5 because we border Ouachita Parish. And a lot of people complain about people from the Calhoun area coming over and dumping trash. We need to partner with the sheriff's office and really enforcing this out of parish dumping, more cameras on the dump sites, and until we can work into more mega sites or something like that. I do support house-to-house pickup if But I don't think it should be mandated. If we have a group come in that says we want to pick up trash door to door, it's gonna cost the residents $25 a month or whatever. If you elect to do it, fine. If not, keep using the dumpsters. I don't think that's something we can swap to tomorrow and make everybody deal with it or eat the cost and just do away with the dumpsters. We're always gonna need them. And we may have to work with the landfill in keeping their hours a little different for people that work and can't make it there.
All right, and we'll move now to our District 8 candidates. Mr. Hohlt.
Since this is a two-part question, can we have 3 minutes?
You're using up some time.
Little history, this has been an ongoing problem for probably 15, 18 years. The discussion always gets hot. It's complicated because half the people want one thing and the other half want something else. When they came up, David Hammond's pushed hard to get the mega sites, and he should be credited for coming up with that idea and implementing that. The full jury implemented it, and I think it was looked at as a good idea at the time. But as people started to lose their dumpster in their area, they started kind of getting mad again. So I've heard recently talk about maybe some mini mega sites. So they can be put out throughout the parish so people wouldn't have to drive so far to throw away their garbage. But I think it's a very difficult issue, and it's also an issue at the landfill. Y'all should go out and spend an hour just sitting in your car watching out there, because it is overwhelming to the employees at the landfill. Trucks are coming in constantly, and we really need to get with them and help them as far as getting their ideas and try to streamline that service there. So it's really two parts of this equation. All the trash gets shipped to Union Parish, all the garbage gets shipped to Union Parish. And they only have one truck to offload that on, so it becomes a major problem. I don't think I answered the second part of that question.
And Mr. Russell.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have already begun moving forward on this. If you've driven down Highway 821, about 3 or 4/10 of a mile down on the left is a mega site. That's my mega site because I live across the street up the hill there. And I was the one who went out, reached out and talked to the landowner, and he gave us a very good price, and we moved forward, and that's the largest mega site. We have others. We have one in Shooter, we have one in Simsboro. We've given thought to expanding with more mini sites, but we, on the other end of that, door to door, we already have door to door. We have an outfit out of West Monroe, and we'll give you their number if you want to use them, that will come and they'll provide you a container and they'll pick up your trash. Secondly, we are working right now with the city of Ruston to allow them to charge those who live in subdivisions near the city limits, within a mile or so, but living in a subdivision, and we pick up your trash through the city of Ruston, and you pay for that charge through the city.
All right, and our District 7 candidates, Mr. Pullin, you're first.
Yeah, it's definitely, if you go around and you look at some of these dump sites, it's definitely, we have a problem. And I think there's two ways to fix this. I think in the short term, I think better enforcement on the dump sites of just dumping out and making trash. It's just a eyesore of people who want to come to our parish and they see some of these dump sites. The other thing in the short term, I believe that marketing the landfill better to our community. People don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people in our community that don't even know where the landfill's at. And using that landfill, it's the mega site that's out by Skips. It's not much further to go to the landfill with stuff that should be put in the landfill, not just at the dump site. And I think in the long term, looking at the compaction sites. I've done a little research. I'm with Logan on that. Of these things have proven themselves as far as keeping everything nice, keeping everything neat, and it's at the end of the day, it is a money saving operation.
And Mr. Babcock.
I've been hired with the Jackson Parish Police Jury to do an appraisals for mega sites, and they're all on property that's not on the right of way. Most of our sites are on right of ways. There was a big fight when they started with, the state wanted them off this right of way. When I built the first subdivision, I was forced to give a piece of land so that the mini site could be built on it, and it was off the Parish Road right of way, and it's pretty clean. And I think that's one of the answers, but we're getting more dense in a population. Subdivisions are springing up everywhere. If you wanted to buy a lot to build a house in Ruston, I think you would be surprised that you could not find it. It has to be out in the parish, and the parish is growing, and there's a need for home deliveries, absolutely, and we have it now.
Okay, Mr. Babcock, don't relax, because next question starts with District 7 and starts with you. And here it is. Should the police jury own commercial property and lease it? Example, the Old County Market Building.
No.
Okay. Mr. Pullin?
Yes, I do believe that should be something the police jury can do. I mean, we do manage other facilities, and as far as owning them, it does create revenue for the parish, and it's revenue that is severely needed, and we can do lots of things. So, yes, I do believe we should be able to own that.
All right, and moving to our District 5 candidates, same question, Mr. Milner.
Yes, as long as the cost to maintain the property doesn't outweigh what we're getting for rent of the property, then I agree with it. I don't think we should go out and buy a lot of abandoned commercial property or something like that. We're not trying to get in the rental business with the people's money, but properties that we can benefit from. I do agree that it can give us some revenue as long as the cost doesn't outweigh the rent we receive.
All right, and Mr. Hunt.
I agree. I believe we should be able to operate commercial property as in a rental situation. Specifically, I would say with the county market in that area right there. I'm a landowner, and for those of you that are landowners, you know it is best if you can control your neighbors, and that property could very well be used. Not control your neighbors, but have input in what happens next to you. And so, if as the jury was able to purchase that property, I agree with them doing so, and we may need that property one day for something for the good of the parish. And so, yes, I agree.
All right, and moving to our District 8 candidates, same question, Mr. Russell.
No. Now, I want you to know, 10 years ago, I was instrumental in buying that property where the old Gibson building was, and I supported that. However, over a period of time, we need to get out of that kind of business. We're competing with folks around our community who do have commercial rent property. I'm in the rental business myself. I've been in it for 47 years. I am in favor of not continuing to be in the rental business, but to use that property for something else.
And Mr. Hohlt.
first you have to understand the history and what they were trying to do when they bought the old county market building. The intent when they were talking about doing that was to maybe consider building a new courthouse on that acreage right there. That was the plan. That was what was discussed. We talked about it at length. And we were trying to prepare for the future. I'm in favor of doing it when there's situations like that. We don't need to just be going out and buying property and renting, but we have to develop a strong policy, and it has to be passed by the jury that basically says if we buy property that we should be allowed, we should be under the same rules and regulations as anybody else that owns property. And what I mean by that is there was a little tiff between the tax assessor and the jury. The jury didn't think that they should pay taxes because the rent they got was going toward community things, community, whatever, toward the budget. So they thought they should be tax exempt. I can't remember the outcome of that or if there has been an outcome, but there needs to be a clear policy that we're treated the same as everybody else. And there needs to be a definitive plan for why we're doing it, especially in light of the reasons we did it in the past.
All right, next question, and again, Mr. Hohlt, don't relax yet. You know, it's not often you get to tell your former boss what to do and not do. It's kind of fun. Seriously.
Next an easy question.
Yeah. Next question is on something we haven't touched on before. What are your thoughts about the police jury's current support for the Lincoln Parish Health Unit?
It's critical for us to be cooperative when it comes to healthcare concerns in our communities. I'm not aware of the amount of support in this particular venture she's talking about, but we need to be supportive. I know there's the Health Foundation, and we're using a lot of that money for health concerns, and it benefits the general public. But I don't know that much about it, so I would have to really look into it more.
And Mr. Russell, also from District 8, same question.
We are obligated by law to furnish a location for the health unit, and we do that. When I was a kid, about 100 years ago, when I started at A.E. Phillips, I was 6 years old. My records are still there where I went and got my shots at the same location. That place has been there for eons, but we are obligated to do what we do, and we don't do anything extra for it. The state pays for the rest of it, but we do what we're obligated to do.
And moving to our District 7 candidates, Mr. Pullin, your thoughts?
Yes, I think the health unit for the parish is very critical, and I know there's been discussions in the past after the sale of the hospital, building a new one and supplying a location for that. I think there's still a fund, if I'm not mistaken, that is allocated for that. I would have to do a little more research to see how much that fund is and how that's managed, but I think it's definitely our duty to supply the health benefits of what we can in our parish.
And Mr. Babcock?
Just like Skip Russell said, we have an obligation to furnish the place to do that, and I don't need it needs expanding. It's more than a health unit. The sanitary people do the septic tanks, waters. There's a water. The septic tank and water inspections for the parish are done. A lot of things that happen in the health unit. It's not, they give shots and so forth. But I'm for the necessity of a plan for the facility.
And District 5 candidates, Mr. Hunt, you're first.
I think our parish's current support of the health unit is inadequate. I do. I think it needs to be addressed. I think essential healthcare services for the most under-resourced in our parish should originate at the health hut and not at the emergency room. I think we're all better off as we serve our people well in this parish as far as healthcare is concerned. I think Matt mentioned the hospital proceeds fund. There's approximately $10.5 million in that fund. Right now, we're from the research I've done, I believe we're providing about $18,500 in support for the health unit. To put that in a little bit of perspective, I believe we're supporting Four Paws right now, which is a great organization and what they do, but we're supporting them in the tune of about $25,000. And so I believe we have a lot of room for improvement there. That current facility is over 60 years old, as Skip mentioned. It's tight in there. There's no room for anything. The walls haven't been painted in years. There's no storage space. There's no clinic space. There's no nothing. If you want to see a fine health clinic, I'd encourage you to go see the Health Hut. The Lincoln Health Foundation, created also from the sale of the hospital, is the primary funding arm of the Health Hut. I'm on the board there at the Health Hut, and we've got a great operation.
And Mr. Milner, your thoughts on the health unit.
All right. I agree with Logan. That place is old. I remember going there when I was a kid. I'm not as old as Uncle Skip. It's been there a while. Now, I do agree with its location because a lot of people on that side of town may find it hard to get transportation, to get places. But yes, we could use a new facility, and we need to support it because it serves a lot of families. I don't know how many families it serves now, but I know when I was younger, that's where you went to get your shots and stuff before you started school. So, in all, I do agree with our support.
All right. Next question, and we will begin with our District 7 candidates. Mr. Pullin, you will be first to discuss the solution to what some folks perceive as a stray animal problem in Lincoln Parish.
I would like to see, to hear, I'm not real knowledgeable about the stray animal problem that we have. I think that there is some issues with, I know I see dump sites all the time, and I see people, have dropped off dogs and this and that, and I don't know if that would be considered the stray animal problem. I would definitely like to get some more input out from the rural areas of the parish to answer that.
All right, and Mr. Babcock.
There's a lot of people concerned about the stray animals. In Simsboro, there's packs of dogs running among dumpster sites. Dogs and cats are dogged on a regular basis. We have a Four Paws organization, and some people have donated mega money. It's not taxpayer money, that are interested in animals, love animals, and they want to see them taken care of. I don't know what the parish can do, what legally we can do for money. I support it. I bought many bags of dog food for people who have dogs that they take them in their house, 7 or 8 of them, and I bought dog food for them. I offered an acre of land for Four Paws, and they said it had to be a bigger place because it's bigger than the problem the acre could be take care of.
And Mr. Hohlt, you were next, our District 8 candidates.
think it's important to realize first that the police jury is charged with the responsibility of the dog and cat problems in Lincoln Parish. It's their responsibility. And at the last meeting of the jury, it was recommended they increase the Four Paws funding $1,000 more a month. They haven't decided on that. But it's real hard. It's kind of easy to throw money at things, and when you don't throw enough, everybody struggles. And that's one of the problems on this issue. I've supported Four Paws from the beginning. It's been a struggle, and we need to get out there more and donate our time and our money to the program. It's very difficult because Four Paws does not want to be a kill shelter. And the city is a kill shelter. So there's been some discussions there. The city was trying to work with Four Paws, and I don't know what's going to happen with that decision, but we need to just all get on the same page and move forward, take some steps forward to make this a better situation, and hopefully we can get those things worked out.
And Mr. Russell, also from District 8.
We do have a problem with stray dogs and cats. If you've ever pulled up to a dumpster in the country, you get out, 12 cats jump out of that dumpster and run. We have a problem. We have, it's multifaceted. There are people who go out and feed those animals, and they're doing it out of compassion. We have an obligation by law to take care of that problem. We, the police jury. The way we're doing it right now is we're funding Four Paws. A lot of people fund Four Paws. I give them a check every month. They take it out of my checking account, and I have done that since they began. It is the way we're handling the problem right now is Four Paws. We've not come up with a better solution, but we still have a problem. We still have a problem, and we need to work on that. Thank you.
And moving to our District 5 candidates, Mr. Milner.
It's an issue. I don't think we have it as bad as some of the more rural parishes, but it's an issue, and it needs to be looked into. Possibly, I mean, we could partner with the city on some things and continue to partner with Four Paws, because I believe adopting pets is a great thing, and I understand they're no kill. When I worked with the city, it was an issue there too, because they would run out of room. They couldn't take this dog or that dog, except for we had to keep kennels for violent animals that, attack people, and we'd have to keep them under surveillance. There's no right or wrong answer to this question, I believe, at this time, because it's going to take some investigating and working on all parties and with the public to come up with a conclusion of what needs to be done. It's something we can't fix tomorrow, and it's going to be an ongoing problem for years from now.
And Mr. Hunt.
I agree that the responsibility lies solely on the police jury to solve this problem of animal control in the parish. And unfortunately, we don't have a long-term sustainable plan to do so, and that's why we are supporting Four Paws. I applaud Four Paws for what they're doing to fill the gap, but that's what they're doing. I feel like is they're filling the gap. They're in that. They're doing a great job. They're taking the dogs in, they're spaying them, neutering them, getting their shots up to date, and they're helping get these dogs out into good families. But they're overwhelmed. I believe they're full the majority of the time, and it's going to continue to take additional money and additional money. That budget's increased from $12,000 a year to $24,000 a year now, and from what I hear, they're requesting an additional $12,000 a year this year. So I think we need a long-term sustainable plan My platform has been increasing efficiencies. And most of you know the city of Ruston is planning on and has already, I believe, has the plans for a new state-of-the-art animal shelter. I think the parish could work together with them to provide that service for the parish as it is our responsibility.
All right, and last question, gentlemen, and we will start with District 7 candidates. Mr. Babcock, you will be first. What will you do for your district that others in office can't or won't do?
8 years ago, I had a stroke and it affected my speech. But I was on a police jury in 88 to 92. And I implemented employee appreciation banquet in the city of a Christmas party. And I would ask the police jury when the meeting, would you support a Christmas party for the employees? And mostly I was told that those kind of people won't come. And I said, I'm gonna have it and I'm gonna pay for it. And you're all welcome to come. And 2 police jurymen came. And I paid for it, and they all came, and they really appreciate it, and they continue it now, still today. There was a single largest event that took place. I don't have the time to tell you about it. It was Operation Celebration. 4,500 people came, 400 volunteers, and the Vietnam veterans and the Gulf War veterans appreciated more than you could know. And Temple Baptist Church continues every July and have that.
All right, and also from District 7, Mr. Pullin.
One of the things, a couple of things that I think I can do on the police jury for my district is I'm big into the entrepreneurship. I think bringing that to our parish is critical. We have, we've got things that feed our parish. We've got Louisiana Tech, we've got Grambling, we've got the Votex here in town. I think those things, I think you work in partnership with those people to market those, to make Lincoln Parish more enticing to stay. I truly believe that we can keep growing and keep retaining the people who come in and then leave. That's what we don't want. We want them to stay here after their education is done.
And, excuse me, District 5 candidates, Mr. Milner.
All right, as most of y'all know, I haven't been riding this thing forever. I ended up in it about 2 years ago when a guy hit me. My entire life has been spent in public service, from being a fireman to a volunteer fireman to being a police officer. One thing that I'm going to offer is I'm in a unique position because I can devote myself to this 24/7. When one of my constituents has a question, I want to be able to answer. I want to be able to tell you where your money's going and get your ideas and your opinion on where your money should go. If you call me, I will return a call, and I want to be able to not only answer the questions, but to be able to ride the roads in the district, know where all the stray dogs are at, know what grass is being cut, what grass isn't being cut, what limbs are growing over what road, and how I can better not only my district, but the parish for all the citizens involved. And that is my plan, and My platform is your complaints. What you bring to me, I will make sure.
All right, and Mr. Hunt.
For my district, I think I'll bring a unique skill set with the job that I do. I'm intimately involved in the oil and gas business here locally, and as we've discussed, that's significant. That there's significant tax revenue associated with that. So I will bring that to the jury uniquely. Also, with my business background, I'd like to bring more long-term planning. We've all witnessed how in just a few short years, Louisiana Tech and Ruston have drastically improved under the leadership of Dr. Geis and Mayor Walker, respectively. And I too believe our parish is poised for greatness, but we need engaged, unified leadership from our police jury. Our administrators can only do so much. They need guidance from the jury for sustainable financial management, for efficient operations, and for tangible benefits for our citizens.
All right. And our District 8 candidates, Mr. Russell.
What I think I add to our district is knowledge and experience of the issues that we deal with, and then I'm available. I'm busy, I do a lot of things, but I'm always available. When people call me, and I publicize my number, 548-5050. If you have a problem in the parish, I don't care whether you're in my district or any district, you call me and I'll help you. One of the strongest suits that I think I have is I listen. I'm patient enough to listen to what your problem is, and then I have the knowledge and experience to help solve that problem, working with all 12 jurors.
And Mr. Hohlt.
Most of y'all probably know my passion over the last 20 years has been fighting to save our water supply. I've been very passionate about that. We started our efforts in 2000 and 2001, bringing forth legislation to the legislature to form the Sparta Groundwater Commission. But as far as serving the people of Lincoln Parish, there's not too many people that are passionate about our water supply. That's one of those things where other passions come first. The good news, just so everybody knows, we have reduced our consumption from overusage of 20 million gallons a day in 2001, 20 million gallons a day overusage, to 0 in 2014, to sustainability. 2014 is the last year that the USGS has statistics. They're working on more statistics. But I'm going to tell you, you're going to see news reports on our usage going back up. This police jury has been supportive and probably one of the largest contributors to the Sparta Groundwater Commission over the years. The contributions used to be $5,000 a year for us to help in our efforts to do this, and we have been successful. Y'all can take a deep breath because it's not critical anymore. It used to be. But I think my passion is there, and I would like to further work on that.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. 2 closing announcements before we formally thank this panel for these gentlemen for their offering themselves for service. 1, early voting for the October 12 primary starts on September 28. So if you like to want to early vote, September 28 through October 5. And then the next of these forums will be Monday night for Police Jury Districts 10 and 12 here in this room, same format, meet and greet, and then questions. And the final one on September 26 for the candidates for Parish Assessor and for Parish Clerk of Court. Let's now together thank all of these gentlemen for offering themselves as candidates. Thank you for participating in this, and safe travels.